Greetings YouTube, it's the Brain Damage Gamer here, and I have a bit of a status update for The Division. Think of it as more of my comments on the current state of the game. I will be basically just sitting here. I might do a little bit of playing if I run into random stuff. I'm not going to be focusing on that though. As an example, I just got a marker behind me indicating that there was an enemy behind me, so we'll go ahead and take a couple of quick pot shots, and apparently miss repeatedly. But it's not going to be anything amazing or fantastic, just for the simple fact that this game and me are still having issues. But that's going to be part of what I'm going to talk about. This particular game, I have had more issues with than I think I've had any other game, both for recording and for just basic gameplay stuff. It's a struggle sometimes to even keep it at 30 frames per second. To do this particular recording, I have had to record 3 separate times because it crashed multiple times. I've also had to completely redo everything I needed to do for this recording because the quality took a crap. But that is actually going to be part of my review. Part of my review is I'm changing what I have my current review recommendation on Steam as. I'm actually going to be removing my recommendation from this game. Let me tell you why. So the crashing issue that I just described, that's something I consistently get. I play with a bunch of different people. There's probably a total of 10 to 12 people that I play with. But of all my friends, almost all of them experience similar issues with crashing and constant problems with the game. One of the things that I personally have run into repeatedly is I'll play for maybe 5-10 minutes and the game crashes. I've tried all the settings that they've recommended. I've tried all the changes that Ubisoft has recommended. I've uninstalled all sorts of things from my computer, reinstalled things. I've done this from a clean boot where there's nothing else running. It just keeps crashing. The game has a constant issue with that. I've seen people with Intel CPUs have that problem. I've seen people with AMD CPUs have that problem. I've seen people with the ATI and Radeon type configuration for the cards. I've seen people with NVIDIA and even Titans have this kind of issue. This is a constant issue that a lot of people have run into. And even more popular channels than me. Team 4-Star did a Renegade for Life playthrough, and in that, the person that was playing as Vegeta had constant issues with it running like garbage and not looking good. And they had a high-end system that they were playing it off of. And I think I'm being snuck up on. I am. I'm trying not to get too involved in gameplay with this, but at the same time, this is about the only quiet place I was able to find. So you have to pardon me while I shoot some various things. But this game has performance issues. It wasn't ready for release when it came out, and that's been quite apparent to pretty much everyone that's played it. It has massive issues on PC. I don't know about the consoles. I can't speak to them. I'm a PC gamer primarily. The overall developer attitude and the way that they've treated us has been rather obvious that there's pretty much a contempt for the fan base. They don't really seem to care too much about trying to fix their problems. That's a personal opinion from what I've seen. They keep saying things like, oh yeah, we got this, don't worry about it. But then nothing actually changes. They do make rapid changes, however, if it messes with the precious economy they're trying to build in this system. As an example, Falcon Lost. That incursion, they had a glitch in it that allowed people to kill the APC in that without actually having to engage in the rest of the mission, all the waves. And man, they jumped all over that quick, got that fixed fast. Never mind the fact that that exists is because sloppy programming, because it was poorly put together as far as the geometry in that area. Try wandering around in there after you actually beat it, if you manage to get through that particular incursion, and just walk around. You'll get stuck on geometry everywhere. There's things that stick out that shouldn't stick out. We've had plenty of people that the reason they can't complete the mission is because when the APC shoots, they can't disengage from whatever cover they're nearby. That's a pretty common thing that a lot of people have reported as well. It's a broken mission. It's broken from balance. It's broken from the actual programming aspects that built that mission. But the thing that they hurry up and fix is, oh, well, there's a glitch. It's breaking it. Oh no, we got to hurry and fix that. The rest of the stuff we're not worried about. Y'all figure that out. It'll be okay. The most frustrating part of that is they're now going to punish people who had exploited their system. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad that you run the exploit. That's on you if you did something like that. My point is they were doing something in PvE that they're now going to get a full ban, 3 days or however they're talking about doing it. I don't know the exact number. I know that is a ban they're talking about. They're going to ban people because they did an exploit for something broken in their own game. As a side note, on one of the developer live streams, they ran the exploit. So where's the fairness in that they're doing something that they now claim that we need to be punished for as, players? Oh, well, if you did this, then obviously you're a terrible human being and you exploited our system. How's that guy not dead? He was dead. Or was he? I don't know. But that is the player's fault for having the audacity to see a problem with their game and running with it. Because, it's obviously the player's fault. Wonderful. Frame per second drop. Lovely. It's obviously the player's fault that they poorly programmed that mission and threw it together. And that they still haven't fixed the mobile cover. You drop that mobile cover, you can still shoot through physical objects. I've seen people doing it in the Dark Zone all the time, still. But that's not getting fixed anytime soon because, not worried about that. Because they have a problem with their mechanics in the game, players need to be punished for that. People who bought this game and are just playing it need to be punished for that. That makes no sense to me. And on that note, players who have done nothing are getting in trouble for PvE, but the people in PvP who are blatantly hacking in the Dark Zone are, at best, getting a slap on the wrist of, 3-day ban. That was bad of you. Go away. Come back in 3 days. You've learned your lesson. You can literally go and kill everyone in the Dark Zone for a week before they actually catch up to you and do your 3-day ban, ruining the experience for every other person in the Dark Zone for that whole week. And you get a 3-day ban for that. The same thing you get if you did something in PvE. Maybe you even did it solo. Let's say you went and did the Falcon Lost Incursion on solo and did the glitch on solo. Nobody but you and that APC was affected. Oh no, you got good gear. But let's be honest, that's part of the problem that they didn't like. Their gear balancing was broken as far as how gear was being released. They had that little conniption fit about, people are crafting too much. More than 50% of the gear in the game is crafted. Yes, because the drops were garbage. The catch-22 is they want you to go kill things and get the drops. When you go and kill things and get the drops, you're playing in the PvP area, or maybe you're playing in the PvE, you're doing their daily missions. All 3 of them. Woo. Yeah, hit level 30, you get 3 missions to do over and over again. Yay, that gets me Phoenix credits. Which, let's be honest, they're probably just gearing up for Phoenix credits to be charged for at some point in time. I would be highly surprised if they don't have microtransactions for Phoenix credits pretty soon. But that's a whole nother issue. People crafting stuff is the problem. We don't want them to craft. So we're going to increase the cost of all the crafting and make it more difficult to craft. And we're going to increase the cost of buying the blueprints in order to discourage people from crafting. That's their solution for having something broken within their own game. How does that even begin to make sense? That all of this broken mechanic gets shoveled off on the players, and then we have to deal with the consequences. But never mind the fact that your hackers are running around destroying people's experience in the Dark Zone, because that's where you're supposed to be getting your gear from now. You're supposed to be going out there and killing things over and over again just to get, a little bit more gear in the Dark Zone. But we have hackers running around in the Dark Zone making it almost impossible to properly mine for the gear that they're trying to make sure that we go get instead of crafting, because, crafting is a terrible idea. We don't even know why we put it in the game. But that is what's currently going on, is that you have those hackers running around just destroying the experience of people trying to do genuine PvP. One of the worst hacks I've run into this game personally has been the MP5 that shoots shotgun rounds, and will shoot shotgun rounds at a massive distance, like 2 to 3 times the distance from where I'm currently at to the end of this alley. I've seen people just getting sniped with that thing, and it's a one-shot hit kill every time. Doesn't matter what your stamina is, just insta-killed. Because they've managed to do things like push the equipment. Get out of here, buddy. I don't want to hear you talking. They've managed to push the equipment to the point that it's just absolutely ridiculous what they're doing for damage. Damage that shouldn't even be possible in the game. That gets you a 3-day ban. If you want to report somebody, you have to type in report, and then after you've typed in report, you have to type in the person's name. Let's say they're Jim. Alright, so let's say I go ahead and hit enter and I were to report Jim. Well, let's say it's a more complicated name than that, and it's Jim, I don't know, that. If I put this in now and hit enter, and that's his name, theoretically it reports him, right? Well, let's say, oops, I forgot the O at the end, and I accidentally put 3 L's. If you push enter right now, this is not a player name. I'm willing to bet this person doesn't exist. Matter of fact, I'll throw just a couple more characters on there, just because. This person doesn't exist. But if I push enter, doesn't tell me anything. It hasn't told me if I report a person or not. It's designed so that if a person is not a real person, they're not actually the name that you thought it was, doesn't tell you. It doesn't say that player doesn't exist. It just says, oh yeah, totally, I sent the report off. You're cool, don't worry about it. And because of that, we've seen a lot of people doing things like their names will be things like this. They'll have a name like that, where it's visually difficult to determine where the V's and the W's end. And, you know, what's going on with the actual name, how many V's there are, how many W's there are. We've seen people with all sorts of names like this. They'll have 1's and L's mixed up, capital L's in there, capital I's mixed in there. Which one's the I? Which one's the L? Which one's the 1? That's one of the favorites I've seen so far, is there's plenty of this, where you'll have the I's and the 1's mixed in. And which one's which? At a glance, if you're in the middle of combat or just after combat, hard to tell which is which. People are doing that because they know how stupidly broken the system is to report people. In other games I've played, I can go and report people that I've been in recent contact with. Much easier than just, oh, make sure I write that name down, hopefully I get it. Who thinks that that is a valid system? Come on. Even basic understanding of what people are going to do in games like this would tell you that's a bad idea. And that's assuming that the person that you're running into has a name that's in a language you can type on your keyboard. If the name's in Korean, I have an American keyboard. I'm not going to be able to type their name out. Period. I don't have the characters. And don't say, well, that shouldn't happen. It should all be in your region. That is something that, in all honesty, I don't think that Ubisoft is ever going to fix. Because to be perfectly frank, given how lackadaisical they've been about it, they don't care. Even post-beta, when we were complaining, hey, there's a hacking problem. Hey, there's a hacking problem. Oh, don't you worry your heads about it. We've got it covered. That's the best explanation we got is, oh no, we're aware of it. Don't worry about it. Really? Games in full release, been playing it for a while, you're not doing anything about it. The expectation is that players will deal with the hackers. We, the players, are responsible for policing and reporting the people breaking their game. I don't get paid to do that. I'm trying to just play a game and have fun, not having to deal with people being stupid. The problem is, the Dark Zone is the end game content for this game. I have nothing else to do other than Dark Zone. The Dark Zone is intended to be their PvP end game. This is supposed to be what you're going to be doing. If you can't take care of the hackers breaking your game, how are people supposed to enjoy the end game content? We can't, because Ubisoft refuses to address the issues. And I know that, they're just the producer, but let's be perfectly honest. Ubisoft is the one that pushed this game out the door so early. It wasn't done. It needed more time in development. It needed more time to get a little bit more stable in regards to what's going on with the game itself. And to be perfectly frank, I don't think it's ever going to get fixed. I think we'll see little half measures here and there, but I don't see an actual resolution occurring for this anytime soon. It's to the point now that the people I play with typically, if we run into a hacker or two in the Dark Zone, we'll just quit playing this game for the day, because there's no point in playing. There was a rogue symbol that we checked on the map, and it was 4 blocks away. It was in 2 completely different areas. We were in DZ5, they were in DZ3. They poofed from there to where we were, almost as if they'd teleported, because there was nothing, and then they just poofed, there they were. And I just had something flash on screen for a second. I think that was actually a player. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look at that in the post-recording. But we were in a completely different area. They poofed in front of us as if teleporting like that. and then killed us, all 4 of us, and all of the elite NPCs, including the named, in less than 3 seconds because they had aimbot on and were rapid firing a MP5 that shoots shotgun rounds. So it was just literally pop, 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 and everybody just fell over all around them, all dead immediately. No delay, nothing. Couldn't even shoot back at them because they weren't there until they just appeared in front of us. And I checked the map. It was the same person that we had seen earlier that was much lower in the map that we'd moved away from. So that kind of experience makes it so what's the point in playing the game? There are other games out there, and I don't want him barking at me. I'm busy. Anyone that knows me or has seen my channel or seen some of the streams I've done or some of the videos I've done, I was really looking forward to this game. I was quite excited about it. But this is, to be perfectly frank, very similar to what I experienced with Evolve. A developer has a great product, and through lack of care and lack of updates, they've turned that product into something that I don't see the point in playing for the most part. I still try to play this game on occasion, but the second I run into any of those issues, I just immediately quit. Because there's no point. If I crash more than twice, I'm done with the game for the day. I don't even turn it back on. I have no intention on playing it for the rest of the day. That's it. I'm done. Because there's no point in trying to play a game that can't even be bothered to keep running itself. And the developer doesn't care if it keeps running or not. But I don't know, that's just some of my current thoughts on the game. Like I said, I'm changing my Steam rating. It will no longer be recommended by the Brain Damage Gaming curation that I run, and I am going to have that review obviously shifted to indicate some of the new information that I have about the game. The game's moved into mixed reviews already too, which is never a good sign. The player base has rapidly dropped off as well, and I think that's one of the reasons that so many people are running into hackers now in the Dark Zone. They're all that's left just about. And not giving players the ability to leave the server they're on and join a different one to get away from the hackers, not helping either. Those are just some of the thoughts I had. As always, I am the Brain Damage Gamer, and I do look forward to any form of comments or suggestions down below. Let me know what your experience with this game has been. Tell me a little bit more of the information that you've seen as far as gameplay or stability issues or things like that. Feel free to leave those comments, and I'm always open to discussion when it comes to stuff like that. I would like to thank everyone for watching. As always, I am the Brain Damage Gamer, and game on.